Hey, welcome everyone to another episode of Leadership of the Leaf. My name is Dice.
And I'm Austin.
Well, hey, Austin.
Hey, Dice. How are you today?
I am quite well, my friend. It is new year,
Whoop,
new
whoop.
us, new something. Last
well.
episode.
Last episode? Huh?
Last full episode. I'm
That's
pretty
fair,
sure there's a
that's fair.
sidebar there. I'm pretty
I'm
sure
sure
there's going to be a sidebar.
There's something there. We always find something, right? Well, so before we jump too far in, Dice, I gotta know, what are you smoking? What are you putting in your mouth?
What? You want to know what I'm smoking before you know the topics? That's cool. All right, we can do it.
Hey, I'm switching it up. New year,
Let's
new
do
us,
this.
right? New order.
Well, we'll start a new season later. All right. LFD, Flor
Man, you suck so bad.
Do, yes.
You know what's something that hasn't changed is your shitty pronunciation of stuff.
Dominicana.
Man, that was a struggle bus.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a Chisel.
Ooh.
I wish everyone could see they can once they go on Instagram, but I wish they could see the wrapper of this thing. It's a double Ligero, and it is amazing and delicious. And I was a little worried about the Chisel.
Okay.
But it's puffing fine. And of course, Mr. Austin, I am enjoying that with my adult beverage of
Tennessee.
Yes, that's correct.
Tennessee. VSOP?
VSOP. Just
Hey.
I know it's a new
Hey.
year. It's a new year, but I need to kill a bottle. So
How dare you?
yeah, well.
What did the bottle ever do to you?
It was full.
I use that against my wife. What did the bottle ever do to you? It was full. Fuck that bottle.
What are you placing on your lips, sir?
I am smoking a Padron 1926 Natural.
Natural.
Mm-hmm.
That looks nice.
Yeah, that's nice. It's a little bit of a box press. It's a smaller cigar, but it's good. I'm enjoying it so far. The 2-3 puffs that I've had. And I am pairing that with one of my favorites, Esprit de Cru Crystal Rum.
Rum. With a Padron. Oh.
Yeah. Trying something new. Right? New year?
I like the sound of that. What are you trying to say?
Branch out, motherfucker.
I will. Next season, I will branch out.
When you're dead. Got it. So, Dice, before we get into the topics, I got to tell you a story.
Got more. Oh,
story time.
Yay.
I got to come out and say this.
Okay.
I recently had a terrible tragedy strike myself and my humidor.
Oh, no. Oh, no. What are you talking about?
Mold. White, fuzzy mold.
Mold?
In my humidor. And
That's
on my
fucked up.
cigars.
Oh, how many soldiers you lost?
8.
Oh.
So far. 8.
So you said so far. Oh.
It's been a week.
All right.
So I'm feeling pretty confident, but man, that killed it. I was so upset.
Well, that's. I'm glad you was able to admit that to everyone on air.
I'm very upset about it.
I must tell you, we had a special request for this episode.
Oh, we did.
We 100% did. Our cigar topic is going to be steps for removing mold from your humidor.
Well, son of a bitch.
Maybe you can share some insight.
I 100% bet I can. It's been a week. Like I said, it's been a week. My cigars are now safe. So far, there's no new mold spreading. So that's the good news. And we're going to try to keep it that way.
Yes.
All right. All right, so we got tips, 10 steps for removing mold from your humidor, which I love it. Wish I would have had it when I went through the fucking terribleness.
I'm just curious if there's something here that may trigger, like, I'm pretty sure everyone would be curious to, like, how, what, when,
PTSD?
where. Yes.
You want to trigger my PTSD?
Yes. That's what we want to do.
Losing cigars to mold? That bastard. All right, but our leadership topic,
Fucking mold.
I know, is it's going to be functional conflict. That sounds like an oxymoron.
Functional conflict. Functional conflict. I like that.
Yeah.
I guess we'll get more into exactly what is functional conflict
In our leadership topic, yes. But first, let's start off with steps from removing mold from your humidor. Let's see how many I followed, by the way. I just want to see how many I followed.
All right.
Maybe I did good, right?
Maybe.
All right, so first things first. Remove...
before you... This is for a
wood.
A wooden, like, desktop or whatever humidor. Not a coolador, not a tapered, not one of those fancy, stupid acrylic ones. This is talking about an actual desktop-like humidor. Wood, cedar wood, that type.
But the steps are pretty similar. You can modify it to what you need. All right. So for a wood humidor, first step is rescue your cigars from that moldy ass environment by removing
it. I'm surprised that had to be said, but yes.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
So you got to temporarily remove all your cigars from your humidor and separate the moldy cigars from the non-moldy ones, obviously. Sanitizing a moldy humidor takes weeks, so you'll need to store your cigars without a humidor for a while. I recommend a humidor bag, Ziploc bag, a Tupperware, or a mason jar. Toss Belvita packs in there with them, keep them fresh. This way, if any cigars look okay today, begin to show signs of mold over the next few weeks. You're not ruining another humidor or another humidification device. Which, I had to go out and buy a Tupperware. had to go out and buy one. I did not have a spare humidor sitting in my house. So I had to go out and buy one.
Okay.
Terrible.
I'm gonna add a little side note to that, just for anyone out there, whatever. So let's say you have your cigar stack or whatever, and your bottom 8, as your case, were the moldy ones, but the ones that were like slightly above it or whatever, they were not moldy, but they were still kind of in contact with the moldy ones, but you didn't see any mold. I would segregate them even from the ones that you know aren't moldy to the ones that was touching moldy, and then of course throw the moldy ones away.
So once you have all the cigars removed and you've segregated them, you've thoroughly inspected them one by one, look for the foot, look at the head, look at the shaft of the cigar, everything, to make sure you don't see any molds, and you discard. First thing you do after that is discard and toss out any and all moldy cigars, which is the worst thing anyone ever has to do in regards to cigars.
Did you do like a little salute or play like a bugle or taps or something while they were...
No.
Or did you do it very angrily?
I was very angry. I was actually breaking them in half. Which made it hurt, I think, even worse. But it was what it was.
Got it. Yeah.
So toss them out. Cigar mold will continue to grow on an infected cigar, and it will continue to infect whatever environment you place them in. There's no, even if it's just a small trace amount, there's no way to get rid of mold out of a cigar.
True, unless you want to just boss up and smoke it.
Then get sick.
Which is not recommended at all. No, don't boss up. No bossing up.
Don't do that.
The next thing you want to do is discard your humidification device and replace it. You're like, majority of the times it's like a Belvita pack. I know I use the little air, what's it called? Humacare.
Oh, yeah.
So I would throw away my sponge that's located in that. Trying to salvage the humidification unit from the moldy humidor is a little risky. I mean, you don't want to go through all that shit again, right? So probability that you recontaminate your humidor after it's been cleaned is actually pretty fucking high. It's better to invest in a new humidification device and new Boveda packs just to be safe over sorry.
Yeah. Especially Boveda packs are like it's like a paper, right? It's a
two-way.
It's a two-way humidification device. Mold spores are usually airborne, so that means it's probably inside the Boveda pack, and on the outside, it's just not worth it. So it's probably better to just go buy new stuff. As shitty as it is.
So number 1, check. Number 2, check. And number 3,
check.
Okay, so far we got 3 checks.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
So number 4 would be vacuum the humidor thoroughly, which if you don't want to vacuum it, you could wipe it out. Get it all cleaned out, but you get all of the contents of the humidor have been removed. Thoroughly vacuum the interior to suck out any loose bits of mold or tobacco that was exposed to mold. Basically, you have to thoroughly clean the shit out of your humidor, whether that's via vacuum, vacuum or a wet paper towel or something. Clean it all out. You got to get it out because the next couple steps are going to then sterilize your humidor.
Yeah, you don't want little itty bitty teeny bits and particles of tobacco that may have mold spores.
Right.
Just because they're tiny and small doesn't mean you can't have mold spores.
Yeah, exactly. So once you vacuum that out, you want to lightly sand the interior of your humidor. I recommend 150, number 150. It's an extra fine grit sandpaper. Most humidors, the lining is cedar, right? Spanish cedar, but it's thin, so you don't want to sand deeper than necessary. If the mold has penetrated deeply into the walls of your humidor because you neglected it for so long, just throw the humidor out and get a new one. But once you've sanded it lightly and the affected areas, vacuum it again, because guess what you just exposed your humidor to again is mold spore laden wood. So vacuum it out again, wipe it all out again, dump it out, get it out, clean it. Can't stress that enough.
Well, I was a little leery of you even having the word sand in this because I could just see someone just going to town with
nope.
Please, for the love of everything, do not go to town with a fucking sand sponge, sandbar.
A 60 grit sandpaper.
I don't know what the guys were talking about. Yeah, no, please. It's more of a lightly sand. You want to take off just a few layers, maybe like the epidural layer of wood if it had skin.
Yeah. Just the very top layer that had mold on it. So yeah, gently sand it. Mine, I did not sand my humidor. It does have wooden trays. There was no mold on my wooden trays, but I did do the next step. So I didn't sand it. I didn't feel it was necessary, but we'll see if the mold, because I'm not moving my cigars back, right? I'm not gonna move them back for a while. So if the mold happens to come back, then I'll do the sanding. But I did do the next step, which is I sterilized the interior with isopropyl alcohol.
All right. Did you use a dirty cloth?
No, I used a clean cloth.
Some people need to be led like that. Some people need that. But I got a cloth. I got a dirty and a clean one.
I'm gonna use a dirty one. I don't want to mess my clean one up. That's my church cloth.
So clean cloth, you carefully wiped out the interior?
Yeah.
All right.
I actually just wiped out, because it's a tray and they're all interior to the humidor. I wiped the whole tray down.
Whole tray, okay.
I didn't
using a wooden one. Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying I didn't saturate the surface. It was just a light rubbing of isopropyl alcohol, just enough to kind of wet the wood a little bit, and then that allowed that to kill the mold spores, and then I let them dry for probably a couple hours outside the humidor.
I was going to say the same thing. I don't want people dousing their whole humidor with alcohol, saturating the wood. or whatever, you literally are just wiping it down. Just like if you had like a bug biting you, it's just to wipe alcohol over that or something. You just want to really just kill any spores that may be lingering.
Mm-hmm. So I let it dry to just let it air out, right? Because alcohol evaporates pretty easily.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I think I used 80% or a 92% solution. I used like a pretty high concentration of isopropyl alcohol. I didn't use like 70.
Okay.
Because I was like, well, the more alcohol, the better it is at killing mold spores, right? So
right.
I want the higher concentration. And then I took distilled water and I wiped it down with 100% steam distilled water. That diluted any alcohol that was soaked into the wood. And I left the trays again, I left them out overnight to dry out.
Okay.
And I sprayed them pretty good, which also can kind of count as like a reseasoning of your humidor.
Right. Which is going to be like around the next step. What are we on, like 8? The next step is going to be rehumidify the humidor, which is pretty much what you were saying with the reseason. So after it dries out, even though you did wipe it down, you want to reseason it just one more time just to make sure. With a new humidification device, you want to pop that in there. We're fans of the Vita Pack, so we will put those in. Prep and season your humidor just like you did when it was new. Wipe the interior down with distilled water, charge your humidification source, and close the box. And repeat until your humidification is stabilized, and roughly to about 70. But we had a whole show on that. 70 is like a baseline. Whatever is going to be good for you, whatever environment that you're actually located in.
Yeah, I'm sitting at 65 right now on my humidor, which I'm happy with 65. So it's stabilized for about a week. I'm gonna let it go probably 2-3 more weeks, because step 9 is, now that you've achieved a consistent relative humidity, whatever you're happy with, in your humidor, wait. You have just undertaken a project. Wait. It's gonna be hard because you're like, it's been a week. I can throw all my stuff back in. No, wait. You got to give the mold a chance to grow again, basically. Right? Minimum 2 weeks. Monitor very closely your humidor to ensure the mold does not return while there's no cigars inside. Why would you want mold to return while there's cigars inside? That's dumb.
Right. You'd be doing it, you start over from point 1.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I'm probably going to wait about a month or more before I put my cigars back in that humidor. And I sent you a picture of that bottom of that humidor where it was just white mold all over my humidor. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, maybe we post it, maybe we won't. It'll be up to you.
We'll discuss it.
Okay. I would advise, like you said, a month. Like you said you was going to wait a month. I would advise a month. It's a minimum of 2 weeks, but waiting longer than 2 weeks offers just added insurance. So waiting a month is almost like, okay, you can go ahead and cash that check on me.
Yeah, hey, it's been a month. Opening your humidor, checking it regularly, allows that air to circulate, allows you to make sure that it's like it was getting used. So it's under normal operation, so to speak, but it doesn't have cigars in there. They're not potentially being re-exposed to mold. So just closely monitor it. I suggest a month, if not longer. Minimum 2 weeks.
Minimum. Step 9B is the flavor profile of your cigar. Ooh. The first third.
Oh, that's fair. 9B. Oh, that's an interesting. I didn't do that one.
So no check.
No check. Leather, cocoa, just a touch of white pepper on the back end.
Yeah. Pepper and cocoa. Okay. Well, I'm definitely getting the leather.
It's not like cocoa. It's like cacao, like dark chocolate.
Cacao. That's one of my favorite words, by the way.
Cacao.
Yeah, just because of that.
Cacao.
No, cacao.
Oh.
I'm getting leather and a strong sense of pepper. But when I say pepper, it's not like the one that we had at Cuatro. It's not that kind of pepper.
Not the white pepper?
Pepper, not the white pepper. It's more of, I want to say seasoning pepper. So more of a black pepper with a nice spice to it.
Okay.
So a soft pepper. What's the lightest pepper there is? Is black pepper the lightest one there is?
I mean, there's white pepper. That's pretty.
White pepper is
light.
very. Yeah, I thought white pepper was a little more profound.
No, it is. I mean, you're talking about flavor profile, not color.
Correct.
Oh.
You fucking guy. This guy.
Yeah. I think probably. I'd say probably just table black pepper would probably be the lightest.
I'm gonna go with
most
black
people
pepper.
have been exposed to. I'm not a cook or a spice connoisseur by any means.
So I'm gonna go spice with black pepper.
Okay, sounds good.
And it's interesting because all this it probably sounds funny, but I can actually tell the smoke is funneling. It's not coming through like my normal punch that I like or anything. I can actually, the chisel is causing a different swirl effect.
Interesting. All right, step 10, the last step. If no signs of mold appear, return your cigars to the humidor, to their home.
And buy more.
And buy more, because you probably smoked through a bunch of them with the stress of this horrific event.
Oh, I can't believe this. The episode just happened to line up. It just happened to line up.
Sure they did.
Yeah.
That's the lie you want me to believe?
When the coast is clear and your humidor appears to be mold-free, you can store cigars inside again. To be safe, you may want to start with an entirely fresh batch of cigars. In other words, the cigars that you save from the moldy environment are best kept isolated away from new cigars while you smoke through them. You could risk reintroducing mold to your clean humidor again by putting them back inside. And that's kind of what I was aiming for when you were segregating them at the beginning. Because if you have some on like a very top shelf, the likelihood that they have mold is not as high as if you took one off top of one that was already moldy. So if you segregate them again, the ones that you had contact with the mold, I would not put those back in the humidor. I was just going to smoke those through. And the ones that you know pretty much with shadow of a doubt do not have mold, it's probably safe to put those back.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with mold spores, if they're airborne, right, which is how mold propagates, they're throughout your whole humidor. If it's not showing signs of mold, you're most likely safe to smoke it. But that's not saying that there's not a potential of a mold spore inside that cigar that could propagate given the correct conditions. Again, it's not going to affect your health necessarily. It's not going to affect your health, but it's not saying that there's not still a tiny microscopic mold spore still in there. There's just no way of knowing. So if you really, 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 really want to be safe and you're being super cautious, which I applaud your patience and your safety, then smoke through the whole stuff, put a fresh batch in your humidor, call it a day, and you're good to go. I've thought about doing that. Obviously I'm still waiting. Still on step 9. I'm waiting my 2 weeks, my month. I don't know that I'll put those cigars back in that humidor. I will say it's been interesting to note which cigars I had to throw away and which ones I did not. Because you know which ones had the most amount of mold on them?
I would assume the ones that did not have cellophane.
Correct. All the ones that had cellophane? Remember that extra layer of protection? Well, guess what, motherfucker? All but one cigar that I threw away did not have cellophane. Everything else had cellophane. And the one cigar that had cellophane, that had the smallest spot of mold that me and the wife couldn't even tell if it actually had mold, but it had a gray spot, and I was being super cautious, so I threw it away.
That's smart. That's the better, safer move.
Yeah, 100%. So I was like, not 100%. That looks kind of like it's mold, kind of fuzzy. Could just be a blemish on the cello. Don't know. Throwing it away. It sucked because I threw away some good cigars. It made me sad.
Don't tell the world. Don't tell the world.
That's so sad.
That sucks.
It does. So, what I had to do to save my cigars is I had to go get a tupperware, which is similar to a coolador, right? So when I did this, I had to prep this tupperware. I don't have sheets of Spanish cedar laying around. That's, one might assume. I don't. So, but I had to wash it out. I used hot soapy water. I just used Dawn. Regular old Dawn dish detergent. I hot soapy watered it up. I rinsed it out. I let it dry, and then I took a paper towel, clean paper towel, and I wiped through the inside really quick and said, all right, this is good. And then I sprayed isopropyl alcohol in there, and I wiped that all around, let that dry, and then I distilled water, and I wiped that all around to get all the alcohol out. I let that dry, and then I put my cigars in that humidor.
Well, there's some quick side notes for other types of humidors, and coolador is one of them, which I think you pretty much said you did. Wash out the coolador with hot soapy water.
Yep.
I know you use alcohol also. Let that dry. Any of the components that you have in there, I'm pretty sure there's like a fan and all kinds of other gadgets. You want to clean those up with alcohol as well, because they could also contain the mold spores, because as we said, they're airborne. And you also want to check the seals of your humidor just to make sure they're good to go too.
Yeah. Coolador. So I have a converted wine fridge humidor. That's the kind of humidor that I have, and that's the one that got mold. To clean that out, I sprayed diluted 1-to-1 simple green in the fans. Both fans, it has 2 fans. And I sprayed it on all the plastic components because at the same time I was doing my wood trays on the outside, right? Mm-hmm. I sprayed the ever-loving, well, first off, I wiped it down with Lysol. A Lysol wipe. I cleaned up all the molds, and then I let that dry. And then I opened it up again, and I sprayed it out with simple green. I closed that. I let the fans run. I let that sit overnight to dry out, because the fan's running, right? So I got to make sure it's out of all the air ducts and stuff like that. And then I sprayed it out again with simple green to finish making sure I got every nook and cranny of that cooler door safe. Then I let that dry, and then I sprayed the shit out of it with distilled water, and I wiped it out with a clean paper towel. And now and then I let that sit overnight, and then I put my trays back in. But for like an acrylic humidor or a ceramic jar type, wash it out with hot soapy water, let it air dry. If you don't have wood in the bottom or if you do, then you can take the wood out. Maybe think about throwing it in the dishwasher to sanitize it. Check your seals. It's easier to remediate mold in a plastic environment than in a traditional cedar environment, because you don't have to sand. It's just usually surface level, and so you can take a Lysol wipe. You can take simple green or bleach solution or something like that and really clean it. But be cautious. If you do that stuff, you have to let it air out, and you also have to spray out. I would highly recommend you spraying it out with distilled water.
Yes.
Dishwashers have bacteria in them. Don't know if you guys know this. You wash dirty ass dishes in them that people have eaten on and coughed on and all this other shit. So guess what? Even if you sanitize it in there, I would still pull it out and either wipe it with a Lysol wipe, bleach, simple green, whatever, something that is whatever, let that dry, and then distilled water it to get all the remnants of bacteria out of there.
Well, some dishwashers have that sanitizing like tray, and then
great,
like sanitizing for like baby bottles and so. I'm just saying some have that. Mine do not. I'm not fancy pants, but some have that. Some may wonder, which we'll just go through pretty quickly, is the cause of cigar mold. What could cause it? Yeah, because that's kind of what the basis is. I understand you went through hell, which is detrimental. I don't know if I could survive it, sir. Mold in my humidor. I don't know. You're a bigger man than I. Mold can grow for a variety of Mold can grow for a variety of reasons, but preventing it is easier when you are aware of the causes. Some of the common culprits I have listed below.
Yes. First off, using non-distilled water as a humidification device. If you have a sponge, Humicare, rabbit air, whatever, right? The bees, the water beads, and you don't use distilled water, you're fucking up. One of the biggest causes of cigar mold is using tap or bottled water in your humidor. The type of water you use in a humidor matters. You're better off letting your humidor dry out than humidifying it with non-distilled water. Propylene glycol works fine as well, but using tap water in a humidor just once can trigger an outbreak of mold. Guess what? The water you drink that comes out your faucet, it is not as clean as you think. Just saying. Don't care if you got a water softener, it ain't as clean as you think.
Correct. Those are actual words of advice. Another one is your temperature or your humidity are too high.
Yep.
Another common cause is the mold is over humidifying your cigars. It's tempting to boost the humidity up to make your cigars softer and spongier than they need to be, but a lot of folks assume softer cigars are fresher. That's not true. Get your relative humidity where you like it. Whatever your temperature is for your household. They got the 70-70 rule, but again, that's just a basis for really new guys until they figure out what they actually need. Are the best conditions for storing cigars. Exceeding it way too high could encourage mold to grow in your humidor, especially if there's a tight seal.
Yeah, actually, I think that could be one of the causes of my problems. Is because as you know, I was having trouble with my humidification, and I was constantly trying to fight it, and I could not get that thing down below about 75%. I think that was probably my biggest contributing factor. We'll see how this goes. I've significantly reduced the humidification, and we'll see how this rolls. But just be cautious with over humidified cigars. Another cause is if your cigars were exposed to mold before you bought them. It's rare that a moldy cigar will come from a good retailer, but if you're trading cigars with others or someone gave you cigars as a gift, especially Cubans, there's a chance they could have been exposed to mold before you got them. If you didn't buy cigars directly from a reputable retailer, it never hurts to store them in a humidor bag or monitor them for a couple weeks to ensure no mold develops before you transfer them back into your humidor.
That's just a good idea in general. Especially, I don't know. I'm kind of picky when it comes to eating other people's food. Kind of picky when you're getting other people's cigars too.
Yeah. Who knows? They might have stored them in a freezer or something.
It's happened. Here, Dice. Here's a cigar. Had in my fridge for 2 weeks.
Another rule is actually you can get bacteria from your hands. So if you got grubby fingers and you don't wash your hands super often, and you go rifling through your humidor, even when you're organizing it or you're searching or you're rotating cigars top to bottom and all that other fun stuff, the bacteria from your hands can get on your cigars and cause mold to grow. It's really gross and disgusting. Wash your damn hands.
I will say I don't think about that when I'm reaching my humidor. I'm like, oh, let me go wash my hands. I don't think of it that way, but it's not like I'm a nasty, dirty person anyway. But I mean, I'm not going to go out and do yard work and then be like, you know what?
Right, yeah. Hey, I just finished changing the oil on my truck. I'm going to go smoke a cigar. Let me rifle through all my shit while I got oily hands. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So just be aware of that.
Another thing, which I would say, newer cigar people that get involved with it and they want to catch them all like Pokemon. They want to fill up their humidor all the way, right? So not enough circulation in your humidor for humidity and air to circulate.
It's got a 25 cigar capacity. I put 30 in it. What's the problem?
You want to leave at least 20 to 25% of your humidor empty to allow air and moisture to circulate freely. And then you want to rotate your cigars on a regular basis. The humidor is packed to its maximum capacity. The cigars closest to your humidification device or source can prevent humidity from moving around. This obstruction of moisture can encourage mold to grow in one area of the humidor.
Yeah. Yeah, that was not my problem. It has 2 fans, like I said, that go around. So that was not my issue. I honestly think it was because I had my coolador set to about 65 degrees.
Yeah.
But my humidity was like 75%. So I think my temperature and my humidity were just too high. I think it was just too high. So I think that was my biggest kicker, which sucks. Live and learn, I guess. But I thought I'd be okay. I was not. I was actively trying to fix it, but I just didn't catch it in time.
I remember one of my first humidors, you order cigars from a catalog or whatever, order this and you get a free desktop.
Free humidor, yeah.
Yeah. And it holds like 15, maybe 20.
Yeah.
But I bought a pack of like 50. So, of course, I'm happy. I'm like, I finally got a humidor and I fill it up full of, yeah. Some were soft, some was hard, so, of course, with a little research, I realized that, hey, dumb. And then I upgraded.
Yeah.
And then I upgraded again. And now I upgraded one more time. Actually, right now, I think I have 3 different humidors in the house.
I think you do too. It happens.
Anyway.
So I just went for the big guns. Get a 400 count.
Yeah, I was thinking of that. I don't know. Well, we talked about the humidification, mold growing in humidors. I don't know why this topic was brought up, but I thank our listeners for bringing this topic up, so we was able to address it. And also, Austin, thank you for sharing your life lessons.
You're welcome.
To learn.
You're welcome. I don't want anyone to suffer what I suffered.
Yeah, that's a great loss. I feel sorry for your loss. Just for the record, the red cigar was part of the loss, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
So I pulled my cigars out because I was like, you know what? Coming up on a new year, gotta celebrate. Another year going around the sun, hell yeah. And I was like, I wonder what cigar I want to smoke. And I was kind of looking through them, and I picked up the red cigar, and I was like, I can't wait to smoke this. And I just happened to look at the end and saw white, and I was like, that looks like mold. Shit. So I set it off to the side, and then I was like, let me open another drawer. And there was another cigar, and it was covered in mold. And I was like, really shit. So then I was like, I started yelling at my wife like the house was on fire. And she was, what? And I was like, there's mold! She's like, that's it? And I was like, I'm gonna fucking punch you.
You mean that's it?
That's it. Fuck!
I need you to sign these papers.
Then once I started pulling everything out, I was checking it one by one, and I was just hand in head almost. I was like, fuck me. She's like, you have a lot of cigars. Wait, could they all be bad? I was like, yes. She was like, that's a lot of money.
Now she gets it.
Yeah, like, fuck. So, second, third?
Second, third. You want to go now or you want to do it after the break?
We can do it now. I don't care.
All All right. Well, my second third, I'm getting some cacao. No, I'm kidding. Leather is definitely moving in. That pepper is more spicier, not more spicier. I guess the correct way to say that. But it's still a very pleasant spicy. I'm really digging this.
Yeah. So leather. I get chocolate. And just the white pepper moved out, but now it's a spiciness. Not quite black pepper. Maybe like an allspice type thing.
Oh,
it's interesting. It's pleasant. It's very well balanced. Yeah, it's very interesting. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about functional conflict.
Oxymoron.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to Leadership of the Leaf. I'm just letting you know, if you want to see what kind of cigars that myself, Dice,
and Austin,
what we're smoking on each episode, check out our Instagram on Leadership of the Leaf. All one word.
At Leadership of the Leaf. And please, leave us a comment. Send us a message with what other questions or what you guys are smoking on. Maybe you guys have some suggestions for us that we'd love to give it a shot.
At Leadership of the Leaf on Instagram.
Hola, mi gente. I'm Wanda Hernandez. I'm CEO of Sticks and Stones Productions, and we are here with Dice and Austin, and you are listening to Leadership of the Leaf.
All right, welcome back to Leadership of the Leaf. All right, we just talked about how to get mold out of your humidor. No cause or relation to the fact that I had mold in my humidor.
Absolutely nothing. It was a listener.
I want to know the listener's name.
They go by.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, Eddie.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Functional conflict. Let's get into this because this is interesting to me.
I found it very interesting.
Yeah. So let's define conflict, right? Conflict is a natural and necessary part of life, right?
Yeah.
And conflict can be either functional or dysfunctional. Conflict is handled the way it is handled can make or break a relationship. So conflict is competition or a disagreement that you may have with another person, basically, right? You're in conflict or a disagreement with somebody.
Teammate, spouse,
whatever,
friend, random stranger on the street.
That guy that stole your parking spot, whatever. So a dysfunctional conflict is a type of conflict in which people cannot work together to achieve their common goals, usually due to a lack of resolution of differences. It's a type of conflict that occurs when two or more parties, whoever that is, came to an agreement that's not beneficial to all involved. And this type of conflict can cause emotional harm, distress, damage to relationships, and create a power struggle. This is when people just can't seem to solve. They can't agree to disagree, and everyone has to be right, and they're digging trenches.
Correct. It's a disagreement or a conflict in which each side of the argument is using or trying to use the other side to achieve their own personal goal. They're not looking at it as a team effort. They're just trying to win their personal goal.
You're wrong. Fuck you, Dice.
Dysfunctional conflicts are often destructive and can lead to tension, anger, and resentment.
Listen, now, Karen keeps eating my shit out of the refrigerator, even though I put my name on it. Fuck that bitch.
And when the resentment, I have a term for when people just can't let go of that resentment. I call it the bitch eating crackers syndrome. That's what I call it. No matter what that other person does, it's always going to get on your nerves. As in, look at Karen over there, fucking bitch eating crackers, getting crumbs everywhere. Like, all she doing is eating crackers. You don't care. You have resentment because of a dysfunctional conflict that has occurred.
Yeah, and it's not solved. Sometimes I like to call this the mother-in-law aspect. And it's like, oh, your mother's coming to town? Fuck that bitch, man. Fuck, she is so crazy. God. And she walks through the door and you're like, hello, Barbara. Like, bitch, all she did was walk through the door. Yeah, fuck that bitch.
I'm glad we both got our own like terms for that.
Yeah, it makes me laugh because I'm like, I could get into it, but there's people in my life that have some sort of dysfunctional conflict, and they'll be like, it's the simplest thing, and it'll be like, she left a knife on the counter. Well, okay, what kind of knife was it? Did she use the knife? Was it a clean knife that she just happened to take out and realized she didn't need and forgot to put? No, fuck that. There was a jelly on the knife. She left it on the counter. Well, was she coming back? Did you ask her? No, I don't fucking care. I'm like, it's a knife. It's a butter knife. Holy shit.
It's okay. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. Step away from the knife.
Yeah. Jeez. All right. Whereas functional conflict involves productive disagreements where the end goal is improvement within an organization or team. It's when people have opposing goals that can be resolved without conflict, characterized by parties' efforts to achieve mutually beneficial outcomes, and the parties work together to resolve the conflict in a constructive way. This is, hey, I disagree with you that we need to have 3 tires on this vehicle. I really think we should have 4. Well, I mean, 3 would work, but I could see why you think it's unstable. All right, let's go with 4. Boom, it's an improvement. You disagreed, but you came together, made the end product better, and you move forward. There's no lingering resentment, nothing.
Right. I mean, it kind of implies in the name functional as opposed to dysfunctional. But one of the things you want, how do you resolve conflict? The way to resolve conflict, I know this is going to be a little foreign to some people, is to first identify the problem. Once you know the problem, you can work together to find a solution.
So, identifying a problem is not as easy as people think it is, right?
Right.
Because you have to drill down deep. What is the actual issue you have with this other individual or this other party? And it comes in like, if you're thinking like in project management terms, right? What is the end goal of this project? Well, I need to solve this procedure is always late. Okay. Why? Why do you think it's always late? Well, I think it's this, and this guy thinks it's that, and this, and this, and this. And it's like, okay, well, let's identify it. Let's really flush out this problem and identify it to its core. And maybe we find out that it's a simple fix, or maybe it's a larger fix. But if you just go, well, I know what the problem is. The problem is this bitch eats crackers. All right, let's drill down, and because the bitch eating crackers may be like, yeah, well, you're always eating fish in the fucking microwave, and yeah, all right, like, is that really the fucking problem, or is there something deeper?
Yeah, everybody doesn't like it. Everybody? Everybody? Okay. Yeah, it's like peeling the. I think I said it before, and it's a common one. Peel the onion back. You keep peeling it back. The more you peel back, the more you cry until you finally figure out what's going on.
Yeah. You gotta figure out like why does the butter knife bother you? Come to find out, he owes you $12,000 6 years ago, and he ain't paid it back. Like, oh shit, okay, then yeah, I can understand why you think a butter knife's a big fucking deal. I don't know. But now we know the source of the conflict, right? We got to find out what it is. Dysfunctional conflict is not, it's destructive. It leads to further conflict. So if you can't identify the problem, whether it's dysfunctional or functional, you're not going to be able to resolve it. So if it's a dysfunctional conflict, it's going to be destructive, and it leads to further conflict, right?
Right.
It could be Karen disagreed with you and made you look like an idiot in front of your boss, and now you're like, fuck that bitch over there eating crackers. Who fucking knows, right? But it's destructive.
Basically. Functional conflict is productive and helps to resolve the issue at hand. So the issue at hand is not the bitch eating crackers. That's not the issue at hand. So you want to get down to the actual root cause, like we were saying earlier, to figure out what the actual conflict is so you can become more functional instead of dysfunctional. It's also important to recognize when conflict is happening to try to use the functional conflict as much as possible in order to resolve the issue.
Yeah. You have to come with the right mindset though to be able to do functional conflict. You have to come with the issue with the mindset of, this person is not trying to make me look dumb. They're not attacking me on a personal level. They didn't come up to me and be like, "Hey Dice, you're a fucking idiot and I hate your face and you're fucking loser." You know, they're not attacking you on a personal level. They literally just said, "Hey, I disagree with your idea."
Right.
Okay. Why do you disagree with my idea? Let's figure out why we're disagreeing on how to move forward on this project, and we can come to a better solution between the two of us. They're not attacking you on a personal level. You got to realize it's one of those things that, hey, I disagree with your idea. Okay, what's your idea? And let's come to a solution.
Well, sometimes when stuff like that happens, and then why do you think that? And because he's stupid. Okay, that's not really constructive. That's not really helping. So sometimes if tensions are high or whatever, the problem can't be solved, then decide whether to resolve the conflict or move on. So what's that saying is maybe now is not the right time to talk about it. Maybe now that person is still too angry, or whatever the reason is, they're not really able to communicate effectively without falling back into the dysfunctional side of the conflict.
Yeah, so I was helping coach my son's little league football team, right? And a part of the league, you have to have a league rep for each city that's part of this league, right? There's a dysfunctional conflict within that league. These two towns, I'm not a part of either one, could not get along. One team could be like, "Hey, I want to change my color from a light blue to a navy blue," and the other town would go, "You want to do what? You want to change motherfucking colors now? Now that we've already been part of this league for 3 years, you want to change colors now? Nobody else has got blue, and you want to fucking take 2 blues? Nah, fuck you, I'm out. Nope, I vote against it." That's like, holy shit, dude! All they're doing is changing their own uniform colors. Like, it doesn't matter. Now, fuck them. That's dysfunctional conflict. They could not get along.
Yeah, and that issue cannot be resolved at that moment. And
right.
probably there will not be another moment. I don't know. I'm not there.
Yeah,
but
it
sounds unreasonable.
If the conflict becomes too dysfunctional to where you cannot solve the problem, and the two parties just cannot come to an agreement on any way, shape, or form, and it's causing conflict outside of the two parties, it may be time to move one party out or both parties out and say, you know what, if you guys can't get along, then you're both off the team, you're both out of whatever, and we're going to move on with this project without you because you guys can't get along. Now it's hindering the rest of us, and you're just going to have to solve your problems outside, or we're going to take note and just not let you guys basically be part of the same team anymore because you hate the way she fucking crunches on crackers. I don't know. I'm going to keep using it.
I love it. Functional conflict occurs when there is a disagreement about what needs to be done, but everyone involved can work together to resolve the issue. So everybody knows what the problem is at hand, but everyone has a different idea of how to resolve that problem. So instead of going to a dysfunctional side, everyone is still functioning and moving in the right direction of trying to resolve the same issue.
Right, and that goes back to properly identifying what the fucking problem is in the first damn place. I can't tell you how many times that if you go to like a conflict resolution class or any project management class or anything like that, the first step is planning and identifying what is the problem that we are trying to solve. Because I could say the problem is our production is down. All right, Dice, how do you think we should solve the production problem? Well, I think we need more personnel. And I'm over here going, what? More personnel? No, we need more facilities, man. We have enough personnel. We just need more space. We both agree that the problem is production is down. We have different ideas on what is causing the production to be down. So you need to identify, and this is where it can be dysfunctional or functional, where if you say, no, fuck you, what the fuck do you mean we have enough people? You're a fucking idiot. You don't know what the fuck's going on this production floor. Fuck you. And I'm like, fuck me? No, fuck me? Fuck you. And that starts falling into dysfunctional. If you go, hey, tell me why you think we need more space. And I go, well, because X, Y, and Z. Why do you think we need more people? And you go, well, because X, A, B, C. I'm like, okay, I can see both sides of this. Let's come together. Maybe we do need both, or maybe we just need to reorganize how our spaces flowed and add 2 positions or something.
Yeah. I mean, exactly what you just you labeled here. Handling conflict in a constructive way, which you did at the end there, can save relationships. So maybe we was like Hatfield and McCoy's until we both agreed to pretty much disagree, right? But we both still agree with the same issue at hand, the final problem. However, the conflict is handled in a destructive way, it can lead to a breakup of a relationship. So this is like sometimes when you see a company split up, like maybe they're brothers, and then they're like, fuck you, I'm gonna do my own thing. And now you got Starbucks A and Starbucks B or whatever. Because the 2 brothers couldn't figure out a way to resolve their own conflict, they decide to go ahead and just, do their own thing each way. That means they couldn't resolve their conflict. But I mean, the same issue is going to happen again and again and again unless they can come together to resolve their actual conflict. Right.
And the conflict could be, I don't like the way he made fun of my hair one day. I don't fucking know, but it could just be that could be the base of the conflict. And now they're disagreeing on how to properly run a business, which is a huge issue. So while conflict is often viewed as something negative, it can be that conflict is a positive force in our lives, right? Conflict can drive each other to be better. Conflict can sit there and make you say, "Oh, I never considered that before. I'm glad we kind of had this argument, so I can see your side, you can see my side, and we can come together to make a better solution that neither one of us would have considered on our own. I wanted a bigger floor space, but that does no good if our floor space is set up inefficiently. Whereas you want more people, but that does us no good if we don't have the room for the people because it's so inefficient."
Right. But I would never have saw that if you didn't speak up to begin with.
Right.
In a constructive manner.
Fuck you, Dice. We don't need more motherfucking people. You want more people on this fucking payroll? You want to cut into our revenue? Fuck you. Where you start getting into dysfunction. Functional conflict, when managed properly, can lead to better decision-making, increased creativity, and improved relationships. It's a type of conflict that is focused on achieving goals and utilizes healthy debate and discussion between people who have different viewpoints and ideas. You're not attacking each other personally, like I've said in the past. Rather, the focus is on finding the best solution to a problem or whatever problem you're trying to solve.
Right. And what I like to do in these type of situations, especially if you're in a group setting and you're trying to solve a production issue or something like that, it's best to just listen to everyone's idea all the way out. Like, why do you think we need more people? Oh, those are good reasons. Why do you think we need more floor space? Oh, I didn't see it that way either. Okay, so now maybe we, like you were saying earlier, maybe we can meet in the middle. We'll rearrange to have our production a little better, flow better. And I think you're right. We could use 1 or 2 more guys at the end here because now we got more floor space, which you wanted, and we need 2 more guys to work this area. That'll work out perfectly.
Right. Versus your original idea of let's just get 10 more bodies in here, and my idea of I need another 2,500 square foot warehouse or whatever the case was. It's one of those, again, it's like brainstorming. Like functional conflict, I kind of look as like a brainstorming session, right? You don't ever attack the idea of somebody who's just throwing out ideas, you attack, or no, I'll say you attack. You go, why? What? Don't go, that's a stupid idea. Why the fuck would you think that? You go, why do you think that? I don't understand where what you're seeing that makes you say that.
Yeah, 'cause I don't see that. I don't see that as a problem at all. But maybe you can shine the light on it. As we said, this whole functional conflict it can be a good thing. It is a good thing because one of the byproducts of it is better decision making. When people are encouraged to share their ideas and perspectives, it leads to a more diverse set of options for a group to consider. And I suggest that could broaden the thinking process of the whole issue at hand. Choices you consider and discuss, the better your decision will be ultimately at the end.
Yeah. It broadens that thinking, right? Because if Dice says, "Hey, I need more people," and I say, "Hey, I need more floor space," and we discuss, I don't want to say cuss and fuss, but right, we discuss it all out. You know, you can kind of sit there and go, "All right, I see where you think we need more space, but let's go out and walk the floor.
Love that. Yeah,
right. Let's go look at the problem. Like, let's actually get out of our bubble and let's go look at the actual problem, what we think the actual problem is, and we can put eyes on it and go from there." Like, say you're in a car and you want to go somewhere. You know one way to go. That's what you decide to follow. However, if there are others in the car with you, perhaps someone who's more familiar with the area or knows or someone who has maybe a maps or Waze or something like that on the phone, they may say, "Hey, don't take the interstate. Take this one. It's quicker because the path may be longer, but there's traffic up ahead." Or, "Hey, there's a longer path, but we're only adding 20 minutes, but we get a way better scenic view going this route." And you're like, "Oh, all right, well, I'm down for the scenic view." The lack of discussion, if you don't have that discussion, if you don't have that talk, means that the attractive alternatives might be missed. Assuming your situation permits it, it's better to have. Wouldn't it be better to have all of the options available up front and then decide which one makes your needs the best? Or do you just go with, "I'm the boss, this is what I say, it's my way or the highway, fuck everybody else"?
Well, if you're in the car with me and my wife, then the wife knows the best way no matter what.
Obviously, I know that from 100%.
Yeah. Why are you going this way? GPS said to go this way. GPS is stupid. Oh, all right.
Yeah. Well, so it's funny. We bring up the car analogy. I at one point was using my car's built-in GPS, and it was like, "Take this exit," and I was like, "All right, taking this exit." Boop, 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 boop. Driving along, and I hit traffic like a motherfucker. I was like, "Oh shit!" This turns out there's a car fire on the road. They shut down the whole highway. So I booted up a different app and plugged in the destination that I wanted to go, and it was like, "Why the fuck did you go this way? You should have turned off the interstate 6 miles ago." And I'm like, "Fuck!" And it's like, "Get off now, and I can save you 45 minutes." I'm like, "Yes! Fuck! I can't believe I did that." Boom. I had to look up an alternate method to go around this other way, and it saved me 45 minutes. So, but if I would have had somebody else in the car, I was driving by myself, but if I had somebody else in the car, they'd be like, "Why are you doing this? Shouldn't you have taken this exit?" I'm like, "No, it's fine." And they pull up their map on their phone, like, "Yeah, it says there's traffic up ahead. You should exit now." I'm like, "All right, fuck it. Sure, let's go."
I did your scenario in the reverse. The car GPS was telling me to go one way, and I was like, "That's the dumbest way I've ever seen in my life. Why would I go all the way around just to get there? This is so..." Oh, shit. There's a car fire. The traffic is backed up to the gilt. Now I'm stuck. I can't exit. I'm just sitting there. Fuck. My GPS was probably like, "Tried to tell you."
If cars could talk, bitch, I told you.
Yeah, I was like, why would I go all the way around? Look at the map. I can get right there.
Yeah.
Oh.
This way's like a mile. That way's 5 miles. What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, I'm a jackass. But anyway.
Yeah. So if you have functional conflict, you can get increased creativity. When people are encouraged to share their ideas and perspectives in a safe and welcoming environment, it can lead to new and innovative ideas being put forward because we're encouraged to take risks. This in turn can lead to new products, different solutions, or approaches that can benefit everyone. The key here is encouraged to take risks, not, hey, I took a risk, it failed, and now I get hammered. No, I expect you to fail. That's a risk. Got it. I'm glad that you're trying to innovate. Let's go forth and, we could still salvage this if we turn it this way and we can make it work. But if you're just you as the boss, hammer every time they try to change the process and take a risk and they fuck up or they fail, then they're never going to want to take a risk and you're never going to get a better product.
Yeah, the key to all that you just said, the key is to remain non-judgmental. The old "there's no bad ideas" mentality encourages everyone to put forward their ideas. Creativity thrives on unique and unusual thinking, like think outside the box, which can then often lead to a strange and unexpected results, including some that just work out. Like, I never thought of that, and that shit actually worked.
Yeah. Hey, have you thought about this, and this? What if we tried it? And fuck it, man. Let's try it.
That sounds silly, but okay.
Do you think it'll work? Let's give it a shot. Non-judgmental. You have to foster an environment where it's perfectly fine to throw seemingly foolish thoughts out, as it may spark you in an unexpected direction. Your group can then consider and choose what's best. Hey, have we thought about, I like to sit there and think of electric vehicles, right? The car industry remained unchanged for 100 years.
100 years, yeah.
Right? And then suddenly, and don't get me wrong, I know there's electric vehicles back in like 1912 or whatever, and they're like, no, we're not doing that. But now you have companies like Tesla and Rivian and Lucid that are only making EVs, and it's all because somebody was like, what if I put a battery on a car and I made it actually viable to travel the country that way? What if we did, and I charged it in such a way that, it's like a gas station stop. Could that work? Like, fuck, I don't know. A gas station? An electric vehicle gas station? That doesn't make sense. Fuck it. Let's try to map this out. Or somebody throws out a silly idea and you're like, what if we did this? You're like, that I don't know that would work, but we could do something similar to what you just said. What if we took that and said, instead of doing everything, we took out A, B, and C and we morphed it into D, E, and F? Ooh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Well, that brings I don't know if you did this at school or high school or whatever, but I remember going to one of those outdoor teamwork things in the woods or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There was like 25 of us in our class, and we was taking part in one of these challenges. And one of the challenges was everyone needs to stand in a hula hoop. Their feet, the hula hoop must be on the ground, and you must be standing in the hula hoop. Well, they had like, I don't know, 12, 13 different hula hoops out there. Good in them, not a problem, easy peasy, right? So then they started taking some of the hula hoops away. Now we had more and more people trying to stand in these hula hoops. So we was down to like 5 hula hoops, and all of us was trying our damnness to, kind of hold each other up, get everybody in the hula hoops, and eventually we got it to where everybody was standing in these motherfucking hula hoops, right? I mean, holding on to each other, teamwork. Then they took all the hula hoops away except for like 2 or 3. Now there's 25 of us trying to fucking figure out how to stand in these goddamn hula hoops. I was like, this is fucking impossible. No one has ever done this task before and successfully succeeded, right? So the one kid that normally everyone picks on, the goofy kid, not me, but the goofy kid, he sat down, he's like, no, fuck this shit. And he just kind of sat down like, I'm not doing it anymore. But when he sat down, he had his feet inside the fucking hula hoop. So naturally, everyone looked at that motherfucker and was like, God damn it. The fucking retarded kid figured this shit out. So all of us sat on the ground with our feet inside the hula hoop. not trying to balance, not trying to stand on top of each other's heads and all this stupid shit that we were doing. We just sat on the ground talking shit in a teenage fashion with all our feet inside the fucking hula hoops, which was the only goddamn problem that we had to solve, was to have everyone's feet inside the hula hoops. There's only 2 hula hoops for 25 fucking kids. Imagine the shock on everyone's face when the kid sat down and put his feet inside the hula hoop. Like, goddamn, that's all we had to do this whole time. Everyone's getting mad, frustrated, fighting. Idea came from a goofy kid just sitting down, giving up.
Yeah, foolish idea. Like, fuck this. This is stupid. But my feet are still inside the hula hoop, so you can't say I quit. Fuck you. Right. Shit. That's a good damn idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So we all end up doing it, and it's problem solved. On to the next one. I don't remember what all of them were, but I remember that one.
Yeah, I remember doing something like that. Or the egg. You had to build an egg protection device out of like popsicle sticks and like napkins and shit.
Yeah, I remember that shit too.
And I was like, this is stupid. And I remember one of the kids that are like, I'm just gonna build this cube or whatever. And I was like, this is fucking stupid. And I remember one kid, he's like, what do we have? He's like, oh, we got rubber bands, we got popsicle sticks, we got, whatever, tissue paper or napkins or whatever. He goes, why don't we just take this, we fucking wrap the egg, we wrap it in a bunch of fucking paper, and we wrap it in that and a bunch of fucking rubber bands, then it'll bounce and it'll absorb the shock. Are you but we gotta use popsicle sticks. He's like, cool, I'll break a popsicle stick and put it on the inside. Fuck me. Fuck.
It worked like a champ.
Yeah. That was a great idea. I was just playing around. I was just fucking around with the rubber bands because I like rubber bands. They're bouncy. Boop, boop, boop. All right. So, functional conflict. It may or may not be obvious, but practicing functional conflict can actually improve relationships between people. If you're asking how, I did too. But when people are encouraged to share their ideas and perspectives, that aren't immediately judged or shot down, it leads to increased trust and respect. This in turn can lead to better collaboration and communication between everybody. Because if they feel like they're getting heard or they're going to be heard, even if their idea stinks, but everyone's like, hey, that was an idea. Not the one we chose with, but that was an idea. That led to this, that led to this, that led to this, that led to ultimately our final decision. Way to go, man.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure everyone's been part of numerous projects and been faced with critical issues. Things that put the whole project at risk of crashing and burning. The worst sessions were the ones where people got into the room and started finger pointing and were actively trying to avoid the blame. The absolute best were when the strong leader took control and identified the issues they were facing and asked for everyone's best ideas on how to solve them. If everyone tried to veer into finger pointing, it was quickly shut down, and everyone was reminded that our goal was to solve the problem, not to point blame. There would be time to review what happened and what lessons to take from it later. But approaching things that way, the leaders set the tone for the project that showed the value of everyone's input, and that is where they all come together. People are called upon to be the best versions of themselves.
Right, yeah. If you got somebody going over there and they're sitting there and they go, well, Timmy he hasn't offered up an opinion. And they're like, I offered up this one opinion. It got shot down. I don't want to fucking talk to you. I got plastered for being an idiot. And you want me to offer up more opinions? Nah, fuck you. I'm done. I'm out, man. Like, what if I didn't shoot it down? Billy shot it down. And all right, well, fuck you. And then Billy's like, no, fuck you. You shot it down first. I was just jumping on what you said.
And that's when you, as a leader, you would take control and be like, fuck you, Billy. Fuck you, Timmy. Fuck all of you. Our problem is this. Not who, but this.
Yeah. I don't give a shit who gives me an idea. I need ideas so we can build off them so we can solve the problem at hand. The problem is reduce production in the warehouse. How do we solve that problem? Not who the fuck ate goddamn Timmy's lunch. I don't give a shit about that. No, but I do. Yeah, fuck off, Timmy. No one likes you anyway.
But the flip side, I mean, as we shared numerous examples, the flip side of that is the dysfunctional. That's where, Timmy is being attacked personally, and it characterized hostility, defensiveness, and lack of cooperation, which is the kind of conflict you don't want, which is most often the default conflict that everyone falls into.
Yeah, I call that almost call it toxic conflict, because everybody's trying to shift blame. Because let's say you go down with an idea and you get 80% done, and you're like, oh shit, this is not gonna work, but I pushed this hard, so now we got to make it work. It's like, well, why are we doing this stupid ass idea? I don't know. Billy suggested it, and he was strong, and he pushed it, and now we're fucking doing this. It wasn't my fault. I wanted to do this other solution. All right, stop. That's not the problem here. The problem is still, whatever the issue is, right?
Right.
Stop trying to shift blame. Let's just solve the problem. Dysfunctional conflict can lead to the exact opposite of what we discussed above: poor decision making, decreased creativity, and damaged relationship. There could be a lot of causes of dysfunctional conflict, including personality clashes, communication breakdowns, and a lack of trust. The way to help combat these things is foster a culture of respect, collaboration, and open communication, whether at work or in your personal life. But, how do you do that? It's certainly going to depend on everyone's specific circumstances, but there are a couple guidelines that can help.
Yeah, and we go over these guidelines, and a lot of things that we have said is kind of repeating, but it's one of the things that it is a revolving door of the situation. So you can see your functional conflict turning into a dysfunctional conflict, and then that's where you have to get it back on track. And one way you can get it back on track is encourage that open communication. Create an environment where everyone feels comfortable sharing their ideas and perspectives. Don't allow ideas to be shot down as soon as they're shared. Instead, do things in waves, like coming up with all ideas first and then shift to a more reflective discussion around what seems to be the most viable ways of moving forward. So if someone we need a car with 4 tires, and someone's like, wow, we can put 2 in the trunk. Well, let's keep that idea and we'll write that on the board and see if we can come up with something else. Oh, we can add another axle. All right, add another axle in the trunk area, like what Timmy said at the beginning, the trunk. Add another axle, and then we can add 2 more tires on that. So, I mean, I didn't shoot down Timmy's idea immediately, even though, I mean, I'm using it very loosely. That was a very dumb idea. But
right.
I didn't say, Timmy, you're fucking stupid. Let's get a better idea out there. I kept his idea flowing, and then I kind of built it into, a more viable idea as it came up.
Yeah. You got to focus on the task. Encourage everyone to focus on finding the best solution to the problem, not attacking each other personally. As much as possible, egos need to be checked at the door, and you can help them with that by reminding your group that the goal is to solve the problem, and you all have to work together to solve that problem. So it's not, hey, I'm the best motherfucking person in this fucking building, and everyone needs to do what I say. Like, all right, got it. You may be the best, hands down, but that does not mean that you have the best idea to solve this problem. It could be the worst person that has the best idea. You have no idea.
Yeah, like that goofy ass kid that sat the fuck down with his feet inside the hula hoop. Fucking genius, motherfucker. You want to embrace diversity. Encourage diversity of the thought and perspective, and open to new and innovative ideas. Again, there's no bad idea. It's a good place to start. Yes, some suggestions will likely be crossed off your mental list as soon as they're said, but what you're trying to foster is an environment where the creativity is like flowing. Stopping and debating a specific idea interrupts that and shifts our thinking into creating to critiquing and defending instead of being more open-minded. You'll get the decision making eventually, but up front, you just kind of want that diverse thinking to develop, like brainstorming.
Yeah, and the best way to, in my personal opinion, one of the best ways to do that is set a time limit on your brainstorming session, right? Hey guys, let's brainstorm all the ideas we could freaking think about in the next 30 minutes to an hour, and we're going to write them up on this board, and then we'll take a break, We'll come back. We'll see if anyone has any more ideas. We can discuss those for about 10 minutes, and then we'll start crossing stuff off and building on other ideas and critiquing and stuff like that. And we're not gonna, remember, we're not gonna attack anybody. And boom, everyone that way. If everyone's like, "Well, that's a dumb idea. I think we shouldn't do that because of X, Y, and Z." No. We'll get to that later. Right now, we're just generating ideas. You have a better unless you have a better idea, you don't need to talk. All right. So foster a culture of respect helps with that. You got to create a culture where everyone respects each other's opinions, even if they disagree. None of us is going to be right 100% of the time, and we'll offer up some goofy ideas. And that's okay. Sometimes we just need to speak an idea to get it out of our heads and clear space for the next idea to form. Crazy ideas can even spark a better idea from someone else. You can lead by modeling and accepting behavior that you want everyone to follow. So even if it's like, well, Timmy says, "Hey, I want 2 wheels in the trunk." Okay, yeah, let's do that. And you're like, well, actually, what if we did put them in the trunk, but we put them on an axle underneath the trunk? Oh shit. Okay, yeah, okay. We'll write that one down. Add another axle. Yeah, okay. Who else has got something? Oh, what if we added 4 tires on the front axle? Okay. We could try that. You go forward and sit there and make it work. But you have to foster that culture of respect, not go, "Timmy, you're a dumbass. Why the fuck would you carry 2 tires in the trunk? Then what are they going to even be used for?" All right, fair enough, but fuck off. His idea sparked adding an axle.
Yeah. You know what? Let's just put a 5th tire in the trunk. For what? I don't know. Maybe they can use it as a spare. Damn, Timmy, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I thought of that.
Yeah. And as a leader, you have to manage that conflict effectively. When conflict does arise, because it always does.
Yeah.
It needs to be managed effectively. This includes listening to all perspectives, identifying common ground, and finding a solution that everyone can agree on. It may also mean that calling out what is happening, not to critique the people getting involved, but rather to remind your group of the mission and how you're going about it by focusing on the task or the goal at hand, encouraging all ideas to be brought forward, and by being respectful to each other. Hey, Timmy's idea of putting him in the trunk wasn't bad. That sparked adding another axle. That's okay. Got it. We're working here. We're solving this problem. We have to carry 4 tires. We got it. But no idea is a bad idea. Let's not attack anybody's ideas because they could spark somebody else's thought process.
Yeah, I know we've been talking about the conflict, dysfunctional and functional conflicts, and sometimes it feels like conflict gets a bad reputation, which frankly, it kind of deserves it, especially if it's dysfunctional in all kinds of ways. But functional conflict can be an incredible tool that will actually improve your thinking and dynamics between you and those around you. And especially being a leader and you're having a group and you're trying to resolve a problem, you want to be the leader that facilitates this type of functional conflict to bring the good ideas to fruition.
Yeah. You got to be that kind of leader that really, manages that conflict and says, "Hey, this is our goal, and right now what we're trying to solve is what is your final third of your cigar."
Oh man, that was good. My final third. I will say there wasn't much change in this cigar profile, which normally that's a negative. Normally it's like, this cigar is so one note. But because of the chisel and the way it like flows through the whole cigar as it channels down the shaft, it actually brings a different, I want to say, mouthfeel to the smoke as it enters my palate. Okay. So it's still peppery. And the pepper is now a little stronger than it was at the beginning. And I do have leather, and there's a small hint of chocolate notes that's coming in behind it. But the way the cigar has been phenomenal. The burn line has been amazing. The color of the fucking wrapper is amazing. I would advise picking one of these up.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I would say something similar. The final third didn't really change for me. It's still leather. With kind of a cocoa sweetness on it, with just a hint of pepper on the back end, which again might be a negative thing, but it was so well balanced. I couldn't be mad at the cigar. it flowed really good. I would say I had to relight that thing about 4 times while we were talking, and which to me is not super thrilling about this. It did actually pair pretty decently well with the crystal rum, but yeah, it just wasn't. It was a good cigar. I wasn't just overly impressed with it. So if we were to say box worthy 5-pack or 1 or 2, I would probably go with a 1 or 2 on this cigar.
Really?
It's good. I wouldn't be upset if I had a 5-pack.
Yeah.
Pending price, but being a Padron, I could say that the price is probably going to be a little bit more. But I would have to just say that I wasn't super impressed with the cigar. The burn line kind of got wonky. It canoed and torpedoed on me a little bit here and there. It just wasn't the greatest smoke I've ever had. So pending price, I'd probably say 1 or 2.
All right. Well, I'm gonna be on the complete different spectrum of your call. I would say this cigar is actually box worthy.
Really?
I did have a little, because it's a chisel, and maybe I didn't like chop enough chisel tip off. I did have a little blockage near the mouthpiece, but it could also be the way I hold my cigar, especially since it's chisel. It fits in my teeth like properly, so I probably squished it a little more than it should. But other than that, I mean, I think that's my own fault. I would 100% say this is a box worthy cigar. Smoke output was great. Everything about it was good.
Nice. Well, we gave you guys 10 ways to get rid of mold in your humidor, and what happens if you ever have to come across that tragic experience, and then we got to talking about functional versus dysfunctional conflict and how to manage that a little bit. Yeah. And I think it was a great conversation.
I thoroughly especially enjoyed the conflict portion of it, because a lot of leaders probably don't realize that they're actually forming and storming the different levels of conflict that they have within their group, especially when they're trying to resolve a problem. So I hope that helps out a lot of our listeners. And other than that, I guess we'll see you next season.
Absolutely, yeah. See you guys next season. Ooh, fun. All right, until next time, I'm Austin.
And I'm Dice.
And great leaders smoke great cigars.
Thanks. Thank you for listening to Leadership of the Leaf. The comments and opinions expressed by the host and guests does not reflect the opinions of those that broadcast this show, nor does it reflect any of our affiliates.